everyone. I'll be talking about this later on in the agenda, but if you're trying to find the Middle Creek agenda, if you haven't been informed or noticed, the county does have a new website platform, which can be kind of difficult to navigate. It looks a little bit different than the platform that we formerly used. So if you go on the County of Lake landing page, right under, if you scroll down, there's an agenda, or a calendar that has all upcoming events. You'll be able to find our Monday Middle Creek meeting right there, happening today, and the agenda is linked to that. So just so folks are aware, if you don't have today's agenda.
As long as we haven't started yet, all I could find under the Middle Creek project documents was the October minutes. Nothing earlier. Am I in the right place?
Yeah, that's a good comment, Mary Jo. So when they translated the old website material from the new website platform, they lost all of our meeting information. It's all still on YouTube. But what we're doing now is Kelly Reese, who's on our public works technician, has been doing a great job. And for all water resources, public meetings, Middle Creek was not the only one. She is re-uploading all of that previous all the minutes, recordings, agendas, etc. For the past year, she has all of the agendas up, but we're linking it now to the Water Resources Middle Creek page, but it's still on the agenda platform. So I'll show you.
It's a good thing you guys have so much spare time.
I know, yeah, it's a great thing. So thank you, Kelly, for all your effort on that. But yeah, that is something that we are actively trying to re-update. But all the recordings are still on there. We're just re-linking it on the new platform for the website.
Okay, excellent.
Mm-hmm. And I believe we are ready to start now.
Hello. Are you guys waiting on me?
Yep. You're in charge.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Sorry for, I was on a very important phone call, and I apologize that it was more important than this meeting. I have to fix my gate. They finally called me. It's been 2 weeks. So apologize for being a little bit late, but thank you for being patient with me. We'll go ahead and start with a roll call. Marina, if you can go ahead and go through the roll call, please.
Yes, of course. Supervisor Sabatier?
I am here.
You are here. Thank you. And Supervisor Crandall is absent. We have Dr. Harry Lyons.
I am here.
Good morning, Dr. Lyons. And then we have Mary Jo.
I'm here.
Hello, Mary Jo and Maria. I am here. So we do have a quorum.
And it looks like we have a quorum. We also have, we usually have a bit of an intimate meeting here with everybody rather than just the public being the public. And so I see we have some staff members and some public members. We wanted to go through all of that. And so Kelly, if you could please introduce yourself.
Good morning. This is Kelly. I'll be taking the minutes. I also work at the front, so if I'm here, I'm here. If I'm on the phone, I can't hear as well.
Multitasking. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Good morning. Scott DeLeon, Public Works and Water Resources Director.
Just jump right on in. And Scott, nice that you're here. Thank you. Then we have Paul's iPad.
Hi, I'm Paul Kolb in Upper Lake. I'll just be attending as a visitor.
Thank you, Paul. I believe you've been to some of our meetings in the past. Thank you for being here again. Parola.
Hi, Parola Kennedy, Robinson Ranch Area Water Resources Manager.
Thank you. Here, Elliot. I think I heard Elliot. I'm not sure if I heard Elliot.
Yeah, I'm Elliot Hurwitz, Cedar Springs Community Redevelopment Association. And I'm mobile at the moment, so I'm going to be lurking. Thanks.
All right. Thank you for attending. And we have Daniela Santana.
Good morning, everyone. This is Daniela with Hubba Matul, Como of Upper Lake, EPA Director.
Boy, very familiar. Then we have Jordan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jordan Beaton with Lake County Water Resources.
And real quick, Jordan forgot to share that she is helping with the Middle Creek project. She is getting up to speed, but she has been doing a great job. So just wanted to give her some kudos and reintroduce that idea that she'll be working with us.
Thank you, Jordan. Then we have the Lake County Land Trust.
Hi, this is Val Nixon.
That's who the
Thank-
kayak is.
Thank you for being here, Val. Then we have Luis Santana.
Yeah, Luis Santana, fisheries biologist, Robinson Rancheria.
All right, thank you for being here. And then the last one is a phone number, 272-3737.
Hi, this is Greg Narvis, property owner of a parcel, 2 parcels in Upper Lake that are, I believe, are under review by DWR.
All right, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Let's move forward. Any extra items to be considered?
We did not receive any extra items request that were posted on after the agenda was posted.
All right, so we'll go ahead and move forward with the agenda as is. And we are looking for board action on the approved minutes from October 3rd.
And then I can bring those.
Please.
And then for those folks following along, let me put this in the chat if you want to follow along on your own. That's where the minutes are located. But until then, I will just slowly scroll through until I receive comments or approval from.
I got a question from board members. Were you able to get all of these documents in order to prepare for the meeting?
I got what I wanted.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure, since it's for the public, the agenda was definitely available, but the other documents not so much, or not so easily available. Dr. Lyons, you're good?
Yes.
Okay. And so as far as board members, are there any changes, additions, deletions to these minutes?
None.
None.
Just opening up to the public real quick. Anyone from the public wish to make a comment, ask questions on these minutes before we take action? And seeing no hands raised, coming back to the committee for action.
This is Harry. I move that we approve these minutes.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Let's do a quick roll call. I'll go ahead and do that. Dr. Lyons?
I say aye.
Mary Jo?
Aye.
Marina?
Aye.
And I say aye, and so the motion passes. Moving on. Project area parcel acquisition. Deputy
Yes.
Director.
Can everyone see my slides? My
We
slides.
sure can.
Great. So I have these written out. Again, these will all be translated into the minutes, and then also this packet will be available as always, the slideshow. And again, hopefully more easily identifiable once we get the website up to go and ready and prepared. So here is what I have for major updates in terms of our parcel acquisition. The board by January 2023, early January 2023, they will be seeing the approval hopefully for the Sealy and Rec parcel. We have those agreements in hand, getting those ready to go before the board. We are still waiting on a legal description for a well house easement located on the Chandler property. So our consultants have been working with that parcel owner. They are still willing. We don't anticipate any obstacles or hurdles with that. But we are waiting on that legal description from the surveyor. And again, anticipate that that will be ready for board approval by February or March, depending on when we get that squared away with the surveyor and the parcel owner. Fry's, we are waiting on the owner's independent appraisal report. They opted for the route of receiving their own independent appraisal before they accept ours or before we go down that route of accepting theirs. So that is, again, our consultants are working closely with that parcel owner on their own independent appraisal report. which, just to reiterate, that is an option per our current agreement if folks would rather do an independent appraisal report after they receive an appraisal report from our end. They do have that option of doing that. Berrigan, we are waiting on an owner's response. We did present an offer to them based off our consultant's appraisal. So we are still waiting on their end. As of now, they are still willing sellers. They haven't notified us that they are not willing sellers. So we still have outlined that parcel as willing sellers. As you can see, we are waiting on the state for approval on a handful of different parcels. The biggest one that we are waiting on is the Seychow. We anticipate that this is taking a little bit longer than anticipated because this is a relocation. So for folks that not aware, we do have some folks that are leasing property or renting out property on this the handful of properties in APNs owned by the Seychows. So with that, we have the relocation plan that the state also has to approve for these properties. So again, that's why we anticipate that it's taking a little bit longer. But I'm circling back with the state today on that and hopes to answer any questions that they may have.
So
And then, yeah, go ahead, Mary
that
Jo.
one, so the relocation has gone to the state for their approval?
Yeah, so that's in coordination. We have the appraisal, but the state is aware that there's parcels. And again, since it's renters, the relocation process is a little bit different than if they were the owners that were actually residing on the property. So those, we have the appraisal, the relocation plan that the state has to approve, and the appraisal report that the state has to approve. It's a
And
two-pronged.
relocation, have the people approved that?
No, no.
So the state has to go before the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we are joined by Mr. Narvaez himself. We are still waiting on the state approval on that. And then same with the Vitsmadian, and apologies if I mispronounced any of those names. Just as a reminder, we have non-willing sellers. That includes Heron, Khan, and then Arsino American Buddhist Association. We still have identified them as non-willing sellers. Just as a reminder and information for folks who may not be aware, the grant funding that we currently have right now from the California Department of Water Resources, which is the only grant funding we are working with in terms of parcel acquisition, is only for willing sellers. So if we get written communication from these parcel owners that they are not willing, we are not identifying or allocating a whole lot of time to them, because then we risk not being able to get reimbursed for that time. I do hope that some of these non-willing sellers do announce themselves as willing sellers, especially since we have these current fundings from the state extended until 2028. So that might be a possibility that they would like to have renegotiations and conversations back with our consultants and with us in terms of their willingness to sell. And then we do have a parcel tracker here. I do want to just share, it's on the Water Resources website. And Jordan has been doing a great job of updating this, but just note that this is not completely updated. And on this note, it is still, this parcel tracker is still, if you go to Lake County Water Resources, and then if you go to Programs and Projects, Middle Creek Project Committee, you'll see a PDF version of the parcel tracker. But what we are currently working on is we are working with the county GIS specialist to have this be a layer in the county GIS database. So folks can be able to click on parcels and see how that relates to the project boundary. So by our February meeting, we're hopeful that that will be up and running. So that will be a one-stop shop that people can go to. And if you haven't checked out the county GIS portal, it's a really great resource. They have layers for different map or for different fires that have acquired and et cetera. So just wanted to share that little fun fact. But here is the map. And then we have updates on that we need to do, including identifying REC as 2022 in progress. And then also, I believe one of the parcels, and Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's this one is a non-willing seller, correct? Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, sorry. It is the one directly above the red parcel at the top. Yes, correct, that one. Same owner as the one below.
And then you can see we did change the key from how the map has previously been developed. Let me zoom in. I know it's very difficult to see. So previously we had the parcels that were being coordinated by our consultants with Paragon. And then we had the parcels outlined by our consultants with Monument. Just to keep it consistent, that is still important for us to know which parcel or which consultant has which APNs, which we do know that. But how we have the map outlined now is we still have the study area. We have green as willing sellers, as you can see here. The gray is the county-owned property. The blue is 2022 in progress. Those are the ones that, for example, if an agreement is signed or it's getting ready to go before the board and where we've made major headway on it, those are the ones that we have in blue here. And then we have the non-willing sellers in red. So again, just want to reiterate, this map is not completely up to speed. Jordan did this on Friday very quickly, so appreciate her efforts on that. But the update should be reflected on my slides.
So are there still some that you're needing to do parcel splits on?
Partial parcels?
Yeah, that need to be split. Or-
Yeah, we do anticipate that there still may be some partial parcels,
Okay,
but we have not made any major headway on any of those parcels. Our priorities right now are the ones that I have listed here that we're waiting on state approval for. And especially the relocations, the safe house, because that is going to take a little bit more time than just a regular acquisition of land, etc.
okay.
Oh, let me reshare my screen, sorry.
Dr. Lyons, any questions?
I have one question. This is Paul Colt from Upper Lake.
Hold on, Paul. We'll open it up for the public in a second. I want to make sure that the committee has the chance to ask questions. Dr.
Excuse me.
Lyons, any questions?
Yeah, the tribal lands that are waiting for inclusion in the trust, how are they labeled in the map?
On the map, we
Like
just have,
green.
they are green, but again, the map is not updated. So that's what we're still trying to figure out of how do we specify some of these, and that's why we are moving that to the actual map to the actual GIS portal, and working with our GIS specialists to see how we can better track that. Because each one, for example, the 2022 in progress, that doesn't outline if an agreement, is signed from a community or from the actual owner, or an agreement is signed from the county, right? So there's differences. So there's different layers to this. So that's what we're working on, is how do we properly update this map to demonstrate each specific step that goes into it? And each parcel is different, right?
Right. Very good.
So has there been any progress on the tribal lands at all?
Like any updates on the FIDA trust is what you're asking, Mary Jo?
Yeah,
Marina,
I don't
update?
have any specific update on the FIDA trust.
Yeah, I have
is
not
something
heard.
are people working on it or just waiting on it?
I think we're all waiting on the BIA unless there's been a response from the BIA on that. I know that we do have some folks from Robinson Rancheria here, and I'll go ahead and ask them if they have any updates on that.
What are those initials stand for? BIA?
Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Okay,
They're the ones who make the final decisions, or they're the ones that are the request goes to, I believe. I know that we had a couple of folks from Robinson wondering if maybe they have a response to that. They would definitely have better knowledge than us.
Yeah, hi, this is Corolla Kennedy, Water Resources Manager. Currently, there are no updates on the FIDA Trust.
Okay, thank you very much. And Marina, I do have a couple of questions. We had asked for a timeline of sorts for ensuring that all appraisals had been done. You're talking that you haven't made steps forward necessarily for the partial parcel acquisitions. Have those been appraised or not appraised and waiting to see if we need to do a partial?
It's the latter, Supervisor Sabatier. So we're waiting to see if we need to do partial on those.
can you point to those properties on your screen?
I don't have those off the top of my head, Mary Jo, but that's, again, those are the other layers that we're adding to the GIS, is to demonstrate which ones would be partial parcel. When I say partial parcel, that's going to be up to the state to give that confirmation. So I don't want to outline one as a partial parcel until it's officially up to the state to give the thumbs up on that.
So right here, would it be in green, gray, or blue, or pink?
What do you?
On this map?
It would be dependent on the project boundary. So it could fall, I mean, the gray is irrelevant because the county already owns those properties. So it would either fall in the green. And the reds we're not considering because, again, right now those are non-willing sellers.
Okay, I've just been wondering where they are all these years.
And do you have a ballpark idea of how many of those properties could be? Is it a dozen? Is it 5?
Off the top of my head, I want to say there was between 6 to 8, but don't quote me on that. I want to say it was less than a dozen on those. It wasn't a whole lot that we found, but it just, remember, if we had the survey done, and that was dependent on the project boundary.
Right. Now the new flood zone maps changed a few things. What does it take to get a response from Water Resources? Because I'd love to say that by the next time we have a meeting that we need an answer in order to ensure that we can progress appropriately. I know that we got an extension, but we're still working with getting things accomplished as quickly as possible. What's the possibility you think that we might have an answer by next meeting? Do we need to write a letter specific from this group or maybe from the Board of Supervisors to kind of push them a little bit further to get an answer? Because not getting properties appraised means we haven't started the process, not at all. We have the environmental assessments done for all the properties, but it's still quite a timeline to go through after that. So just kind of wondering.
A long timeline for those. So thank you for pushing that.
And I don't think we need a letter right now. I will, if I'm finding that, it comes closer to February and I'm not getting a set response from the state, then that's when I will bring to the committee if a letter would be appropriate, or if we'd rather bring it from the board. I'm having conversations with the state this week and next week regarding the specific project and next steps. Of course, we actively engage with the state. We have to give them projections up until the duration of the grant. So we are actively engaged with them, but of course, it's not necessarily our program or the grant manager with the California Department of Water Resources who is making these decisions. And then, one thing that we're also working on is, so we're coming up with these projections and, I'm working with the consultants to say, how realistic is it? Great that we have the timeline. I think it makes a lot more of these successful acquisitions to be successful, especially these relocations. I know that was a concern, but I also wanted to share with the committee that I am working on onboarding a program manager specific to this project. So that is in the early stages of planning. So by February, I'll be able to get further into that route, but that's specifically why I am doing that, is because this project needs a committed personnel on this staff 100% to move this project forward. And we don't have the capacity here in my department to just do that.
So we continuously look at the map based on the original map. And then I know we have an updated flood map. And I'm really hopeful that next meeting that we can see this new flood map superimposed on what the original project map is, just because I'd like to get a better idea and a better concept of what really changed. Because again, the map we're looking at today is the one that was created, I think, in the 90s or 2000s. And we have something new that kind of threw us for a loop for a little bit that we didn't recognize was going to have to change things. But I'd like to be able to visualize and better understand what those changes look like. And I think that it would be good for the rest of the group as well.
Yeah.
Does the rest of the group agree, Mary Jo, Harry?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay. And then my last, let me go back. Thank you for doing that. Oh yeah, the non-willing sellers. That was my last comment I wanted to make. Is there kind of a timeline where once a year, once every 6 months, we kind of send a letter again just to see if there's been a change of heart? Or if we got no, and we're just kind of putting that aside?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I would like to do once every 6 months, because although we do have an extension of 2028, that'll be here before we know it. What I do, so with this new extension, the non-willing sellers haven't been notified of this grant extension. I'm not quite sure if that'll transform any of them from non-willing to willing, but with this new grant extension, I am planning on sending them a written letter, just another non-willing sellers list, which you sent, or a response that we requested back from them in handwriting that they're non-willing. So I'm just going to send them another letter stating we have a grant extension, with current funds. We still have ample funds remaining to acquire your parcel. Are you still willing or non-willing, or, what have you not? So I am planning on sending that out by the new year to get that out to the non-willing sellers, and then again, in another 6 months. Because I feel like that is relatively, that doesn't take a lot of staff time to send out. We have those letters drafted, and that way we can just keep up to communications with them, and then just keep applying that pressure that, hey, we are still interested. We have current funding. We don't know how the funding is going to look after this. And still try and get them on board to be willing.
Yeah, no, I think whether they like it or not, they're a part of the project.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we need to keep them updated, and I think once every 6 months would be good. Does the rest of the committee agree to making that happen every 6 months, just kind of reminding them that the project is ongoing and that we still have interest in their property?
Yes.
Yeah, 6 months is good.
Okay.
So I still have 3 properties that were in the minutes that aren't on that sheet. Coker, pending response from owner, still haven't heard.
That is correct. We still have not heard from Coker.
And I made a note that the whichever, I can't remember if it's Monument or Paragon, are they contacting them, trying to contact them regularly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Both consultants know that if they are still waiting on a response from anything, whether it be, for example, the legal description of the well house easement or response to the county's offer, the consultants are actively sending out those communications and requesting any updates or correspondence.
And then 2 that were listed as pending DWR approval, Luna Gaming and Narvaez.
So Narvaez is on here, and yeah, we're still waiting on DWR approval.
Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. And Luna Gaming, you're still waiting on.
I believe so.
Okay.
I can double check and then get back to the committee on that.
And I just have one last question. The non-willing sellers, there's no relocation, correct?
We do have, I can't believe if it's Herring or Con or both, but one of them does have a property out there, a trailer that I believe they do rent out to folks.
Okay. For some reason, I thought that we were done once we got the approvals from the state. Okay, well, that's concerning.
Yes.
Maybe in the letter talking about the levies is a good thing, not to scare them, but it's the reality of what could happen to, and that's why we're trying our best to provide the resources to relocate them, rather than them having to deal with it all on their own, because nature has a weird way of taking its own course. That's all the questions I have. Mary Jo, Harry, any further questions before we open it up for the public?
No.
There were the ones I emailed you about.
Yes, and I can stop.
I think if you go back to the map, I think they were 3 of them were the ones that were in blue, I think.
So let me pull up that email because I have those. Let's see. So Mary Jo had questions about the following APNs. So the first APN is 004013160. And that is, I believe that is not that is an incorrect APN.
Right.
So that is not in the project boundary. And then you have 004010290. And that is Oldham. So this is that is in process of contract. So that is a willing seller. We are moving forward on that. And then we also have 0040113-15. That is also Oldham. So again, that goes in tandem with that last update.
And real quick, just to interrupt, when you say we're moving forward, that means the state's approved it.
Yes. Yeah. And the owner has approved it as well. So 004-02212, that is owned by the Clear Lake Duck Club, willing seller. And then 004-01513, that is Maria Villegas, indicating they are a willing seller. And then we have 004-01629, that is Fry, and they are also a willing seller. So I believe those are the ones that were inquired.
Okay. So why aren't these on the list, or did I just miss them on the spreadsheet?
Again, the map, we're updating the map.
No,
So-
the spreadsheet I had.
Uh,
But I couldn't see if the spreadsheet got updated. That's one of those things I guess I'll have to wait for.
yeah, and if it, again, I don't know when you had that spreadsheet last, Mary Jo. But if you don't mind, go ahead and send me the one that you have.
Okay.
Just so I can cross-reference the record
Right.
that I have.
Okay.
Thank you for the responses on those items.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no further comments or questions,
Okay.
then let's go ahead and open it up for the public.
Paul,
Please
yeah.
raise your hand and then I'll go ahead and call on you. That way we're not all talking at the same time. And I see no hands, but I know, Paul, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I can't find out how to raise my hand. I would just like to ask, it appears on the map that Bloody Island has been purchased. Is that correct?
No, Bloody Island has not been purchased. There's two separate property owners for that property. And we're still in correspondence with them. So that has not been purchased.
Yeah, it's still in green.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions from the public before we move on our agenda? Seeing none, let's go ahead and move on. Next is Badonopati. Hopefully I did not butcher that, but Bloody Island. And any updates on that? I know that Marina was working with EJ, Supervisor Crandall. Not sure if there's been any further discussion or any correspondence with the owners.
No, I do not have any update on this agenda item. But we are still coordinating, yes, that is correct. I'm still coordinating with Supervisor Crandall to make efforts to contact these parcel owners.
Okay, and so at this point, no appraisal?
No appraisal.
Any comments or questions from committee members?
Yeah, they had said they wanted something in writing. Did that happen?
Yeah, so that is going out, but I will have Supervisor Crandall review that before I send that out,
Okay.
since I'm coordinating with them on this.
Okay. Seeing no further comments or questions, anyone from the public have any comments? And seeing none, we'll bring it back and move on. California Department of Water Resources update in correspondence with DWR.
Yeah, so I have a meeting scheduled this week and the next week with the state, just in terms of progress of this project, where I need some assistance from their end, and then just moving forward, doing some long-term planning with this project regarding the extension that we have received. On that note, we again have to actively provide quarterly reports to them based off the grant agreement. So I should have 2 that will be going out by the end of this month. And then of course, as always, I'll send those out to the supervisors so they can utilize those reports to send over to legislative. That's the only update I have in terms of DWR right now.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, open it up for the public. Any comments or questions on this item? Okay, I see none. Let's go ahead and move on. Project area property maintenance.
Yeah, so we have some maintenance that we have been doing. Again, I want to commend Jordan and our staff who have been out there and doing any of the identified maintenance. Also, thank you, Luis Santana. I know you were out there. We actually ran into you this past week and pointed out some maintenance that we will be conducting. So there's only been one minor dump site identified, which we'll be cleaning up. It wasn't anything big, just the routine ones. We did have staff work with our Public Works road yard to block some of the main dump sites that we've had. And Public Works was great and got on that. So that has stopped some of the dumping that we've seen routinely. We've noticed a decrease in large dump sites. I hope I didn't just
Jinx it.
because it's been really nice not having to go out there and conduct any major cleanup. So thank you, Jordan, Brett, and Corey on our team for doing that routine maintenance. We're still developing the demolition plan for 2023. Hopefully we'll be able to include more parcels in that demo plan just to make it easier. And then of course, following any sort of county purchasing ordinance to whether we do an RFQ, RFP to get a consultant out there. That'll take outside work to conduct just because we don't have the resources and material to demo property and properly dispose of that. And then with that, of course, we have different things and processes that we need to follow, not only for the county, but for the state, since we will be utilizing their funds for the demo of these properties. And that is all outlined in our current agreement. Some of the low hanging fruit in terms of scheduled maintenance that we have is we have some gates that we are working on repairing. And then we have a door at the pump house that we are repairing. Other than that, that's all I have before I pass it over to the committee. Jordan, do you have anything that I missed?
Nope, you got it.
Cool beans, thank you.
All right, thank you for all that update. Mary Jo, Dr. Lyons, any updates, any comments?
Yeah, I wanted to know what demolition could include at the minimal. Is this, say you have a piece of property, you get rid of the fencing and the well cases and things like that? I mean, the question is, if there's no house there, what do you demolish?
Yeah, that's a good question, Dr. Lyons. So it depends on the property. In the demo, of course, if there's a well that needs to be decommissioned, that is included in the demo. If there's any potential hazardous material that needs to be disposed of properly, any fencing, anything along those lines we need to get taken down. Now, for example, the Torrance Vigil, that's, 3 to 4 different structures that are on there. So they have a barn, they have a well house, they have an actual property. And everything needs to be disposed of properly. So according to any environmental compliance, health compliance issues as well. So we need to completely scratch everything from start to finish. So, when we do get the boots on the ground and actually restore it back to wetland, everything will be squared away and ready to go for each property. And I see Director De Leon has something to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, Dr. Lyons, that the well is abandoned per county health department requirements, as well as the septic tanks. So the septic tank gets pumped and cleaned out and then filled with sand, again, per county requirements on those abandonments.
Those are interesting details to me. Thank you.
And we haven't done any major demo or demo work in this current grant cycle. So we anticipate that'll pick up early in 2023.
Perfect. Mary Jo, I think you had something that you started saying.
I was saying that I didn't have any questions.
Oh, well then there you go. I appreciate the preparation for the project by getting things slowly cleaned up so that we're ready to go. Obviously, it depends what properties we've acquired, where we can really shut down a whole entire area and clean it all up and get rid of the fencing. So it's not as simple as it should be, but we're getting there. So appreciate the update on that. And thank you, Jordan, for your work on that too. Any further questions or comments before I open it up for the public? Seeing none, any questions from the public? And seeing none, bringing it back. And we're going to move on to the Army Corps of Engineers. Are there any updates from the Army Corps, Dr. Lyons or Marina?
Well, I think that the update we had, I wanted to explain a little bit more about it, had to do with the feeder trust. And the Army Corps has received from us a technical assistance request. And mainly this is technical assistance with respect to the laws and procedures. What the Army Corps is waiting for is money from Congress to move the project to the design phase and out of the feasibility phase, and simultaneously waiting for the fee to trust to be accomplished so that the Army Corps can assist the County of Lake to make an agreement, come to a license with the Bureau of Indian Affairs to include properties in trust in the wetlands project. So they're waiting for two things again: money from Congress, and two, the process of the Bureau of Indian Affairs taking this property into their trust. Then they can move. Then the Army Corps will help the County of Lake find a license with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the progress can be made. We can go ahead.
By money, Harry, do you mean the money that Giramundi earmarked?
But the money that Thompson and Garamendi earmarked,
I'm
yes.
sorry, Thompson. Yeah.
Yeah, because if they were talking about the money that our Board of Supervisors had set aside, that would have been the design phase money, and they're talking about money required to get the feasibility done and to sign a project partnership agreement, which is this is a document that the next document that we need to accomplish is the PPA, the Project Partnership Agreement. And at that time, they want to deal with the Bureau of Indian Affairs and have what everybody at our meeting today wants, and that is the property is still in trust for the Native people, but it's part of this valuable project.
Marina, what is your role in reaching out to our federal representatives and for this feasibility? I know that there was work between the admin staff and our federal representatives in order to obtain those earmarks for funding. How Water Resources jumped in for has Water Resources for that?
Yeah, so I'll also default to Director De Leon on this. So yeah, that request came from admin office with assistance and support from my team in just terms of getting the information, material, etc. But in terms of the coordination, I would feel that would come either from admin, board level, or director level. And then me just providing any support assistance. If I'm directed to, I'm more than happy to. I love talking about this project and whatnot, but I haven't been given any sort of guidance on that.
Then I'll just confirm that that's all been kind of handled with admin.
Okay, pushing admin in order to get that accomplished. That way, and as Dr. Lyons mentioned, the step-by-step process, we need to get those things accomplished in order to get Army Corps to start taking action. Okay, I will have a conversation with CAO Parker and see what we're doing and what our status is. I haven't got an update in a while, but I do know that it has been earmarked then, and it's not the design fund, as Dr. Lyons mentioned, because the design fund will not appear until we're done acquiring the property. It was made very clear to us that there will be no funding of the project for design until we acquired all the properties, or else it's the cart before the bull. Okay.
Yeah,
Any further comments?
I would just say, I think it would be appropriate, Supervisor, to get that path and coordination or communication path in order for when money is funneled to us or next steps do happen, we are prepared. So let me know if I can be of assistance with that.
Yeah, I think I'll have a conversation with you and Director De Leon. I want to make that it's in the right hands. Obviously, admin cares about the project, but also not deeply involved in the project. I also don't know what level of capacity of saying, please take this over. So let me have a conversation with the CAO, and I'll get back to you guys and figure out exactly what is the process to take to make sure it moves forward in an appropriate way.
Perfect, thank you.
Any further questions or comments from committee members?
CAO, Chief Accounting Officer.
County Administrative Officer, apologize. It would be Susan Parker. Okay, let's open it up for the public. Any comments from the public? Okay, and I on paper, all those things should be very simple to get some sort of agreement to work with the tribes locally. Do that all the time. But I know that unfortunately the language has been very maybe we believe, and I'd love to get him to a point where we kind of put him against the wall and say, look, you need to just figure this out and get us a it will, shall, not may and believe. And the emails, while definitely moving forward, has not given us concrete evidence that everybody is ready to go, and I sure hope we can get to that point. All right, moving on. Where am I? So I know most of the conversations have been between myself and Supervisor Crandall with PNE. We're all waiting on the Army Corps design phase before PG&E can move forward. Unless there's any further updates or information from other team members, that's all I have.
I do not
Okay.
have any additional updates.
Perfect, thank you. Any other public comment on PG&E? And I will mention, though, that PG&E did put out a memo saying that local projects will take a minimum of 18 months. So let's hope that they can figure out how to be a little bit more efficient by the time that we need them for this project. Next is legislative updates, other than submitting quarterlies and getting that expanded deadline for our grant, which I'm sure that Curry's office, our woman, was very much proud of in getting us that approval. Any other updates? I have none.
Nope.
Okay, opening it up for the public. Not much to discuss. And seeing none, let's go ahead and bring it back. And Caltrans, oh, sorry, project funding updates. Marina.
Still utilizing our DWR grant funding. That is our priority. But again, if anyone has any other funding opportunities or interested or think it might be a good idea for us to look at, I'm always open to any and all opportunities. Just go ahead and email those to water.resources@lakecountyca.gov. You know, trying to secure additional funding for this. But again, our priorities are just utilizing all the monies that the state granted us for willing sellers. I don't want to give a penny back.
A quick question for you. It's not necessarily related to the project funding, but it's still funding nonetheless. I know that you've been trying to replace right-of-way position. Has that been accomplished, or is that still a struggle?
No, so Director Scott DeLeon, correct me if I'm wrong, but we do have a right-of-way agent that we're in the process of onboarding. I don't know the timeline for that, but that is exciting. So once we get that, again, that's one of the biggest personnel that I need. I wish I was a right-of-way agent, but I am not. So once we get that position funnel or filled back in, which should be sooner than later, that's going to be a big help to our project, along with the project manager that I'm looking on onboarding.
So you're talking 2 people?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
And they're not specific to just, or at least the right-of-way agent is not specific to the project, but is absolutely helpful to the project. I know that our previous right-of-way, Celia, was a huge benefit to the project and to Marina and staff. So it was a huge loss, and glad to hear getting that back. And obviously the strategy from Dr. DeLeon to splitting the position rather than being right-of-way agent and airport manager, we can start looking at one specific thing rather than both. And obviously that was a success. So thank you for making that happen.
So I have a funding question. What kind of funds can be used for the non-willing sellers?
Great question, and I don't have an answer for that.
Not the grant.
Yeah, not the grant.
No, I realize that, but particularly the Buddhist. I mean, I don't see this project going anywhere unless we can get where the mouth of the river needs to go.
Yeah, and that's why I'm hopeful that that group in particular, they would be, yeah, we're willing. It'd be great to utilize because that's a big chunk of change for our grant. And while we have the funds, I would really like to get them on board to be willing and get that parcel acquired as quickly as possible. And I'm not an expert in this field, but I don't anticipate that any grant, definitely not from the state, would be able to provide funding for non-willing sellers. So that would be up to us at the county to decide an avenue of funding for that route, but I don't anticipate that any grant, again, especially at the state level in terms of DWR, who is the state sponsor for this project.
Right.
Maybe federal funding is different, but I'm not entirely sure.
And so on the question, I'm hopeful. It's kind of why I was asking about what you're doing with communicating with them on a regular basis to see if they change their mind or just to update them. So I'm glad that we're going to do that 6-month check-in. And I think that in the long run, maybe not right underway in January after the first letters have gone out, but maybe around July, looking at creating a subcommittee of those that will meet with those individuals to discuss the project, discuss the reasons for not wanting to, and maybe having the ability to change their minds. I think that sometimes it takes a conversation, and hopefully we can maybe be convincing or persuasive enough to change their minds. But I think we can do that yet without checking in again and making sure that they're still in the same position.
My understanding is they were in that position many decades ago when this project started, so.
I thought they were willing until they decided something about no hunting or
Right.
something like that on their
Right.
property. And so I think that I think there's ways to make it possible. And I think that we just need to sit down again and try it again.
Yeah. And Mary Jo, that may have been the case, but I know in recent coordinations with this and communications this past 2 years that our consultants have had with them, they were willing until the last minute of, yeah, it was the hunting aspect. So maybe they had that take before, but it was under our understanding that they were willing until they, the whole no hunting and
Until they weren't willing.
yeah. But I mean, they led us to believe they were willing. They said they were willing. We did an appraisal, all of that. So
yeah.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful we can recommunicate, engage with them.
And in response to your question, Mary Jo, we're just have to find the money and make it work. These properties, every single one of them are necessary to make this project happen. So there are some funds that are available in places. We'd rather not use them if we don't have to. And I think eventually we need to start the conversations, whether it, what's the term I'm looking for that is a very bad word. Think of it when eminent domain, there's that possibility. There's other ways of going about it, but I think we need to start those processes hopefully sooner than later. But again, checking in, I think, is most important and foremost to really see where we stand.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We
I
toast.
saw a hand raised from Elliot. Was there a question?
Thank you. No, I was also curious about that, the matter of the hunting provisions on that parcel, and whether there was a sense that there was a way to somehow meet that condition, and there may be other kind of friendly help to enter in that negotiation with some of the other Buddhist groups in the county.
Now we were trying to see how we can make that. I know we had a brief conversation in the past about some sort of deed restriction or some sort of I forget what the specific deed changes, but I think we haven't really dove into the subject matter to figure out exactly what's possible, rather than seeing if we can get them back on the other side of that argument, and if they agree to it without to have any deed restriction or any wildlife sanctuary or something of the kind, be a whole lot easier on our end. And so we'll figure it out. There's definitely potential avenues on it.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments or questions from the public? And seeing none, we'll bring it back and move on. And we have Caltrans, and as far as I'm concerned, Caltrans is the same situation as PG&E. Without a design, it's really impossible to request what they need to do. However, we did talk about bringing the HUD map and superimposing that over the project map. I think that once we do that, we should share that with Caltrans just to update them as to what the potential impact to the roadways would be if we reach that 30-year flood, let alone if we finish the project. So just to kind of give them an idea what's going on, and then eventually the design will come that way. Any further comments or questions? Okay. And opening it up for the public. And seeing next is expression on anything that was not on the agenda. Anybody have any comments or questions from the public?
This is Paul Kolb. I have one or two questions.
Okay.
One question, you were just discussing hunting. There are feral pigs apparently in the reclamation area. And for example, I live at the end of Bridge Arbor North, and I have feral pigs on my property almost every day. During this meeting, I just ran outside and chased 5 of them off of my property. I'm wondering if you can make some effort to remove the feral pigs. I am told there may be 400 of them wandering around. I just have a question. Is there any discussion or thought about that?
That is the first time I have heard of feral pigs in the area. Marina, any comments? Is this something you've dealt with already?
Well, luckily I've never ran into the feral pigs. You're brave for chasing them off your property, Paul, I will say that. We've had like discussions about it. That's one thing that we've talked about, but that's something that's going to have to take coordination with CDFW for, permitting and whatnot. So it's not necessarily high on our priority list, but that's something that we can continue engage discussions on because a lot of pigs out there, they can definitely destroy the habitat that is out there. And they're kind of scary if you ask me. Again, I wouldn't want to run across one when I'm out there on the levees by myself. So
Well, don't worry, there's only 400 of them supposedly.
Yeah.
It's not
I can say so.
in thinking about it, I don't know if in your conversations with Fish and Wildlife this can come up, but that worries me about the potential damage and the continued erosion of the levees that they may be causing out there as well. I don't know if that can help in the conversation or not, but a concern that comes to mind.
Yeah, and that is something that we would use to leverage that discussion, Supervisor Swate, for that specific reason of just the degradation of the environment impacts, especially regarding the work that we're doing in the flood risk and et cetera. So,
okay, thank you. You said you had 2 questions. That was one, or was 2 in 1?
That covered that question. Yes, my main concern is the destruction to the environment within the reclamation area. I have just a simple comment regarding the Upper Lake Flood Reduction Project, which has been going on for about a year. Myself and Supervisor Cranston have been advocating to restore the original channel of Clover Creek, which runs right through the middle of the project and ties into Upper Lake at the south side of Highway 20, where the current channel of Clover Creek passes under Highway 20. At that point, the Upper Lake Flood Project is discussing a means of blocking Middle Creek from going backward up Clover Creek into Upper Lake via the connection between the existing channel of Clover Creek and Middle Creek. And regarding that, myself and Supervisor
Paul, I'm going to interrupt you. I don't know what you're doing, but it's like you're sanding something at the same time that we're listening to you.
I'm sorry. I'll hold still. I'm nervous, I guess. Anyway, myself and Supervisor Cransville have been discussing ways of restoring the original channel of Clover Creek, and regarding that closure gate, which they want to make at the south end of Highway 20, where it enters from under Highway 20 at the bridge. And we would like to try to connect that point from the south side of Highway 20 at the bridge to the original channel of Clover Creek, which is only 400 feet away from that point at the bridge. It runs parallel to the mobile home park, the Noble Mobile Home Park. And we are devising a way of connecting the current channel of Clover Creek to the original channel, and it will tie into your project a little bit. It will enter the parcel that is now being purchased, 004010-45. I just want to make the comment that we're working on trying to do that as an alternative to leaving that connection in place between Clover Creek and Middle Creek and providing a gate. We believe a more efficient and more desirable solution would be to block that channel of Middle Creek leading up to the current channel of Clover Creek and add new channel restoring from the south side of Highway 20, restoring Clover Creek to its original channel in the reclamation area. So I just want to make a comment that we are working on that. I have been studying that and I have made some drawings regarding what would be necessary to do that. And I will submit that to the members of this project and to the Upper Lake Flood Project for consideration. I just want to make that comment that we have that working. I don't think it will require any additional expense or trouble on the Middle Creek project. The Clover Creek can dump into that parcel I mentioned, and from that point, it can just flow into the reclamation area and create an alluvial plain. So anyway, that's all I want to say about that. I will provide some drawings, and I would like to just get that into your mind that we hope to do that to restore Clover Creek's channel. And in that case, Clover Creek would be flowing into the northern part of this project. And there is currently no flowing water planned to be in the northern part of the project. Where they break the levees farther south, that water from Middle Creek and Scotts Creek going into the reclamation area will not flow in the northern part. But if we restore Clover Creek, the water will flow into that northern part. It'll recharge the groundwater and it will allow Clover Creek's water to filter just like we want all the water to do. It will allow Clover Creek's flow to filter through the reclamation area before it reaches the lake. And it will restore Clover Creek for the hitch to be able to go up the original channel through the reclamation area to the current channel, which they are not able to do. So I just wanted to make those comments and get people, have people in mind, have it in your mind that we are hoping to do that, and we will give more information soon. And we are working on that, myself and Mr. Crandall in particular. Thank you for giving me that time.
Thank you for the update. I know that Water Resources is very well aware of that project, and I'm going to leave it with Resources to see the connection between this Middle Creek Restoration Project Committee and what our focus is, and what the focus of the project with Clover Creek is. But I appreciate the comments. Just we're well aware of what else is being worked on and being looked into.
Thank you very much.
Any further public expression from anybody on this from the public? And seeing none, I can't find my. Okay, next is non-timed items. We didn't have any. And then our next meeting, February 6th, 2023. And we'll be again on Zoom, 30 a.m. And are there miss anything? Are there any final comments before we go ahead and adjourn? I believe I see a hand from Deputy Director Deli Giannis.
That's me. It's my hand. Yeah. Apologies for that typo. I do know how to spell February 6th, but clearly I was in a hurry. And then again, just a reminder, go to upcoming events for the calendar. If you guys are having issues finding any of that material from previous meetings or you need a walkthrough, just give us a call and we can walk you through that and send that out. We're trying to be more efficient with getting that information to you guys and making it more centrally located. We had a process and then just working through that now with the website changes. So thank you, Kelly and staff, for getting that up and squared away. But that's all I had.
I am going to make one request, and I need the approval from the team before that request is taken. I know that we asked for an email on the months that we do not meet. Even if the email is there is no update, if we can make sure that we get an email in January, just so that we're aware of any potential changes or updates that may have occurred, that would be great.
We can do that.
And I'm looking at Mary Jo and Dr. Lyons. Are you both in agreement on?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just-
I just don't want to